Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's math lesson. I am so excited to jump in with you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you guys can follow along with what is happening. All right, so today we are going to be talking about comparing lengths. And what this is just when we measure two things, we are going to be comparing the lengths. So seeing which one's longer, which one's shorter, what is the difference between the two. All right, and my name is Miss B, and again, I am so excited to do this lesson with you all. All right. So I always like to go over our standard and objective just so you guys know what you should be learning about and what you all know by the end of this lesson. It's always cool to have that to look forward to. So our objective is by the end of this lesson, you will be able to measure objects and compare their lengths using subtraction. Today, we're really going to focus on subtraction to help us find the differences, and I will show you guys how to do that, and we'll create number sentences, and it will be awesome. We will revisit this objective at the very end to make sure that you guys feel like you have learned what you should be learning. And then our standard is to measure to determine how much longer one object is than another, expressing the length difference in terms of a standard length unit. So again, just the same as what we should be learning. That's the standard that the state gives us that you guys need to learn. All right. So for materials, in this lesson, it's going to be a little bit tricky to find exactly the right materials. So hopefully you guys can work with me on this. But if you have a ruler, that would be awesome. If you don't have a ruler, if you have like a tape measure or something that you can measure with that has inches, on it or centimeters, that would be great. And then if you could grab items to measure. So if you have a pencil, a tissue box, a book, a DVD case, those are all things that we will be working with. And I know that yours will not be the same as mine, but that is okay. And then if you guys could just grab a blank piece of paper. I just have a blank piece. If you guys have lined paper, whatever you have, that is more than okay. So I'll let you guys pause this and just find some items. All right. Hopefully you guys were able to find these items. And again, if you don't have these exact things, no worries. As long as you're following along with me and kind of are able to see how we are doing this, you will be fine. Okay, so before we even jump into measuring, I know some of you guys maybe have measured before using rulers and maybe some of you haven't. So go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you've done some measuring before. And if you haven't, give me a thumbs down. Again, either is fine because that is what we are learning today. But we always want to ask, why are we doing something? Are we doing something just to memorize how to do it or what? How does this help us? So measuring can help us determine how much space we have for something. So for example, if I have a bag, like a bag to hold books, and my bag is, let's say it is 12 inches long, but then my books are 24 inches long, do you think those books are too big for the bag? Yes, they are too big. And we know that because just by measuring, we can see. And when comparing two different objects, you can create kind of a subtraction sentence to see the difference. And that difference can help us adjust maybe what we're using. So for example, if that bag is too small for those books, let's find a longer bag. Let's find a bigger bag. Let's find smaller books. It can really help us to see. Also, it can help us when we are talking about height. This is one that you would probably use something bigger than a ruler for, but we can always use measurement to see our height, to see how much taller we are than someone, or to see how much taller they are than us. In my case, I'm not a very tall person, so most of the time people are taller than me. All right, so moving on, that is why we measure. That is the bottom line that I would like for you guys to get today. Okay, so I am going to start by measuring two objects. And we are going to take these two lengths and create a number sentence. I'm going to stop sharing with you guys so that you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. You do not need to grab any objects right now. All you need to do is just follow along with me while I grab two objects. Just watch. All right, so my first object that I'm going to measure is this picture frame. This picture frame. This picture frame has a nice picture in it. I'm not going to show it, but it's of my family members. And I'm going to take it and I am going to take my ruler and I'm going to look for where it says inches. And now I can see it says, well, it says IN right there, which stands for inches, IN. And I'm going to use this side of my ruler to measure this picture frame. And again, when you guys are measuring, you want to make sure that you're starting at where it has here, where it starts at inches. This is where we start. And this is 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, and so on. So make sure you're starting here, because if you're not starting here, your measurements will not be accurate. So I'm going to start with this picture frame and I'm going to set it up like this. See how I'm starting at the bottom there? They're lined up, oops, at the bottom. And again, it's okay if it's not absolutely perfect, but it should be very, very close. Okay, so I have to kind of set this down so that I can see it, but I am going to measure it. All right. For inches, this picture frame is 7 inches long, 7 inches tall. So now I have 7 inches. I'm going to write that information down so that I can remember exactly how long this is. So I'm going to write down, ruler, 7 inches. Perfect. I just wrote that out on a piece of paper so I could remember. And the reason I knew that it was 7 inches is because when I lined it up at the bottom here, I just looked to see where the top cut off, where it stopped at the top, and it was right on with that 7. So that's how I know that it was 7 inches. All right. So moving on now to my next thing to measure, I am going to measure this. Let's see, what should I measure? I'm going to measure a water bottle, okay? So a water bottle. Let's see. So again, starting at the very bottom here, making sure that it lines up nicely. I'm going to set it down so I can see what it comes out to. But I can see that this water bottle is exactly 8 inches tall. And I know that because it is, you can't really see, it's not perfect when I hold it up like this, but it is at the 8-inch line right here. So I'm going to take my next color and I'm going to write water bottle. And that was 8 inches. Okay, so now that we have two objects measured, let's compare them. How we compare them is we look at both numbers we have here. And I'm going to see which one is larger. So the larger one to me is 8. And 8 is just larger than 7. That is the fact. So we are going to take our pen or pencil and write 8 inches minus 7 inches. And all you have to do is think, okay, what is 8 minus 7? It's 1. And then we carry over the inches so you remember what we are talking about. So our water bottle, is 1 inch bigger than our ruler. Or I'm sorry, not our ruler, our picture frame. I wrote that down incorrectly. I'm sorry about that. Our water bottle is 1 inch larger than our picture frame. And how we got that is just 8 minus 7 equals 1 inch. So we know that that is 1 inch larger. Okay, awesome. So if we wanted the water bottle and the picture frame to be the same size, we would have to add 1 inch to the picture frame. All right, so we are back on here, and now we are going to do one together. All right, hopefully you guys grabbed a pencil and maybe a book, and we are going to compare those lengths now. So I'm going to start with my pencil, and I have a pencil right here. It's an orange pencil, and again, your pencil and book are probably going to have different lengths, different than mine, but you can do mine and yours at the same time. If you're watching, it'll be the same process. So start by measuring that pencil. Remember to start at inches here at the bottom, and we are going to measure it. All right. Okay. My pencil, I'm going to try and show you guys. It's so hard to line up when I'm holding it up. But my pencil is 6.5 inches. 6.5 inches. So I'm going to take my marker and write that down. Pencil is 6.5 inches. Okay, now that we have that, let's go to our book. Go ahead and grab a book, any book that you have, and let's measure it. So again, starting at inches, here at the bottom. All right, so my book is rather large. It is 9 inches long. So I'm going to write that. Book, 9 inches. All right. 9 inches. Great. So pencil, 6.5 inches, and book, 9 inches. All right. So which one of these two numbers is larger? 9 is larger than 6.5. 9 is the larger number. So we are going to start by writing out our 9. And again, your numbers may be different than mine, and that is okay. Okay, so now we have our number sentence, which is 9 inches minus 6.5 inches. And with that number sentence, you guys may be thinking, oh my goodness, how do I subtract that half? How do I do that? And that is a really good question. If you guys are not feeling comfortable with subtracting that half yet, you can go ahead and round up to 7. But if you guys want to come along with me and try to subtract that half, awesome. That is great. So all we really have to do is see the difference between 9 and 6.5. So let's think, okay. If we have 6.5, if I add another half to that, that's 7, right? So let's think there's a half, and 7 plus 1 is 8. 7 plus 1 is 8, and 7 plus 2 is 9. So if we put the half with the 2, that's 2.5. So we know that 2.5 inches is our difference. And we got that because when we added the half to 6.5, that became 7. And then 7 plus 2 is 9. So the difference between the book and the pencil is 2.5 inches. And if you guys weren't working with halves, then you guys probably just got 2 inches. And I know that you are using different books and different pencils, so you guys may have even gotten a different number, and that is okay. So the difference is 2.5 inches. And don't forget to label that with the inches, with the inches symbol, because right there. Because if you just say 2.5, it's 2.5 of what? 2.5 inches. All right, moving on. Let's try this one together again, okay? Let's find a DVD or a video game case and a tissue box. Okay, I found a case from a movie, and I also found a tissue box. Now, I know some tissue boxes are not this tall and they're longer. That's okay. Whatever you have, you can use. Yours will be different in length, but we can still work together to get our answers. All right, so I'm going to start by measuring my DVD case, okay? DVD case. Okay. So starting at that inches line again, at the very bottom, I am going to measure. Okay, it's hard to hold it up and show you guys, but I'm going to try. Here we go. Whoops. Okay. It is at 7.5. 7.5. So I'm just going to write 7.5 inches. Perfect. Now let's get this tissue box and see. Okay, again, starting at inches at the very bottom here. I am holding this up, and we are right at 5 inches. Hopefully you guys can see that. Whoops. Can you guys see that? Yep. 5 inches there. Okay, so I'm going to write that down, 5 inches. So tissues, 5 inches. Great. Now let's create our number sentence. Which of these two numbers is larger, 7.5 or 5? 7.5 is larger. So that is the number we will start with for our number sentence. 7.5 inches minus 5 inches. And let's see that difference. So again, if you guys aren't wanting to use that half in there, you can always round to the nearest number, but I'm going to go ahead and use that. So when I'm thinking of 5, I'm going to add 1, which is 6, and 2, which is 7, right? 5 plus 2 equals 7. So now I know all I need is a half. So if I bend my finger a little, it's a half. So our answer is going to be 1, 2, and a half. 2.5. They have a 2.5 inch difference. Alrighty, and that is the same answer as our last one. You guys might even have a different answer, and that is okay. Your, see right here, it's 2.5. Your items may have been a little bit different in length, and that is fine. Okay, that is just fine. All right, I'm going to share my screen with you guys again, and we will, whoops, going to share my screen, and we will keep moving on. Okay, here we go. I'm going to give you guys a chance to do some independent practice. So you guys can grab any 2 items. Make sure they're items that are somewhat, that have some length to them. You guys could use markers, or maybe even if you have like spices in your spice cabinet or picture frames or whatever you want, just find any 2 items and measure them. Compare them and see how much longer one item is than the other. And try to make a number sentence with that. So this is your time to pause this video and go ahead and do that. Okay, hopefully you guys did that. I'm sure you did an awesome job. I wish I could go over those numbers with you because, but since I don't know what items you used, unfortunately I can't. So you can have an adult or a partner check those off for you. So just going back and reviewing our objective, it was by the end of this lesson, you will be able to measure objects and compare their lengths using subtraction. Do you guys feel like we have reached this objective? I know I definitely do. I feel like I know more about how to compare and really work with measuring. Okay. That is all from me. I want you guys to have such an awesome day. Keep learning, keep using this to help you in your learning journey, and just, yeah, have a great day. Bye-bye.